we have an exciting show for you guys today. I'm sitting here with a host of some wonderful ladies who are doing exciting things in the community. So I just want to introduce you guys to who we have today. So today we have Just Jocelyn.
Hey.
Hello. We have Dr. Deshonda Williams.
Hi.
Hi.
How are
Hello,
you?
hello.
Hello.
I'm happy to have you.
Thank you.
We have here Teradina Marshall from Embellish Queens.
Hey, how are you?
I'm excellent. I'm excellent. I'm excellent. And here we have Miss Cindy.
Cherish Continuing Care.
All right, all right,
Yes,
all right.
yes.
Sounds good. And who do we have here? I already know, but Miss Nicole, go ahead.
From Cherish Continuing Care.
All right. Yes, yes. And again, like I've already said, we have an exciting show for you guys today. So we're going to talk about what it is that you ladies do, right? Oftentimes in a community, we always say there's no resources, but here we have great resources right here. So I just want to know what it is that you do. Tell the audience what it is that you do, and then we'll get into how we can work together and build a community and all those good things. Yes?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
excited. I'm excited to hear all about it. So let's just shout around. I'm not going to do everything the way, we just went it. So tell me, Nicole, what is it?
We started a service coordination agency about 2 years ago, and we felt that people that are disabled, and seniors can't live in their home comfortable, and their relatives usually have to put them in nursing facilities. So what we've been doing is going out, trying to help them do the paperwork so that they can get home care services. So we help them with the paperwork, we take it down to the county office, we do basically the legwork with the county assistant's office so that they can live comfortable within their home.
Right.
So that they can either get a stair lift, a shower chair, anything that they need to feel comfortable in their home.
All the essentials.
Yes.
Right.
All the
right.
essential resources.
Because you want your loved ones to feel comfortable and not feel like they're a burden. And when I brought the suggestion of starting the business to my sister, she was like, okay, let's do this.
Nice.
And we've been helping a lot of people. Our clients rave about us, and they bring us more clients that we can help. And we not only do the Philly County, but we also go out as far as York County.
Oh, wow.
Yes, as far as your
That's a really far reach. That's awesome.
Yes.
Outstanding. Outstanding. And tell me, so you guys, she presented it to you, and then you just fell in love and said, I'm on board?
So we actually didn't know what we was thinking of. You know what? We want to be our own boss. That was number one. But then here we are. We've been born and raised in Philadelphia. And so we said, how can we give back to the community? What can we do? I've been in technology forever, but I've given back to the community a little differently under the healthcare organizations. So this way, we're a little bit more interpersonal with the community to sit one-on-one with the elderly or any age, actually over 18. You'd be amazed at how many disabled individuals we have, 18 and above, not just the elderly. But we help them be independent as possible. And to be honest, it's wonderful for me because to a degree we have some personal life experiences that put us in this position as well.
Right.
We not only give back to others, but we also have our own family members that go through the same thing.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Well, again, thank you for sharing it. We'll come back. I got to have some
Yes.
more conversations with you guys there. But let's jump on with Ms. Just Jocelyn.
Well, hey everybody. So I'm Just Jocelyn. I'm the creator and host of Talk to Me Tuesday, a live talk show which airs every week or whatever like that. I also have BUTV. So basically, my mantra is just be you. You're perfect at it. So it's basically, very self-explanatory. The one thing that we can all do perfectly is be ourselves. So I stand by that. I kind of live my life that way in every facet. And what I'm in the process of doing is creating BUTV. My website is up and everything. But what I want to do is basically open up a platform, a network for other talk shows, radio shows, podcasters, because my show is like a live show, Facebook, Instagram, everything like that. And I want to more so open up that platform and that option for other people that may have, whether it is ideas or existing shows, to give them that space and that, that network to work around with and have that feedback and that community, that sense of community. So I feel like, my service of giving back is more so just me being me and giving authentic, raw advice, whether it's inspiration, motivation, talking about different adult topics, conversations that we don't necessarily have or people consider are too taboo. It's just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe she's talking about that. But, I try to keep it very direct, very honest. That's, pretty much like I said, how I feel like is the best way to get through to people if you remain transparent and, show like, listen, these things are happening. I know they're happening. They're happening for everybody, but, nobody's talking about it. So we have these conversations in an open forum. Everybody feels comfortable, and that's why I've been able to be successful with that.
Excellent. That is great. I want to, before I jump to Dr. Williams, I want to, when you say be you, what led you to this Be You campaign? What was your own struggle? And because a lot of times, would you agree that before you start a business or you begin something, it's something from within that triggers that
something personal.
for you to
Most
say, once
definitely.
you got over that hurdle or you've seen that type of pain before, you don't want others to see.
Exactly.
So I personally want to know, and I'm sure the viewers would like to know what led you to, I'm going to be me and I want you to be you.
So honestly, if I'm completely honest, Just Be You has always been how I am, and I never looked at it as a business. I never even looked at it as a movement initially. It's just like I've always, from childhood, Jocelyn is just how she is, not really, as I gotten older, wrapping my brain around the whole, don't be set in your ways, don't be resistant to change. However, be very, very 1,000% comfortable within who you are.
Right.
I am part of the LGBTQ community, so that's something that I haven't necessarily struggled with, honestly, and I kind of feel for the people in that community because I've always just been proud of who I am. It never really has affected me, the ideas and the, and the opinions of others hasn't affected me in the way that I know it has with others. And that's how it's more so kind of like a use your powers for good type of thing. It's just like, I understand as I've gotten older, and I'm in my early 30s, but, going through high school and, college and early childhood and everything like that is just understanding how comfortable people are not with being themselves. And it's in my experiences, it's been issues in relationships, but also even with friends. And the struggle that I faced was trying to get through to somebody. It's just like, girl, I'm sitting here telling you, like, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with how you are. There's nothing wrong with your hair. There's nothing wrong with your circumstance, this, and that. And what led me to creating the movement, so to speak, has been like just trying to get people to understand and embrace that, because I do know that it is a strength of mine. Granted, I have my weaknesses, but I know that that's my strength. My strength is being very comfortable within myself. So I just kind of want to exude that confidence to others, or at least, hold somebody's hand while they can go through it. So that's where the Just Be You movement came in. I never looked at it like a business. It's just like, this is how I am. And it was more so just me trying to articulate that to others. And, it became this. So.
People need that type of
I knew it was going to be great. I didn't know it was going to be that great. Thank you. I'm sure our viewers are excited as well.
Yes.
That's powerful. Everyone here is great, is outstanding.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm going to save Dr. D in just a moment. Is that okay? Yeah. So let's go to Teradina Marshall from Embellish Queens. One, I would just want to tell you that I absolutely love the title, right? I absolutely love the title. But give us more. It's your brand and your company is more than just the title. So please share with us.
Sure, definitely. So I started thinking about when I started with thinking of Embellish Queens, the title for the company. I wasn't trying to find something that was catchy or anything like that. I really wanted it to have meaning, because there are quite a few other people that do what I do, as in the same industry in the business line as myself. But I wanted to make mine have meaning, and not to say that nobody else's doesn't.
Right.
But I was thinking, what type of name will I have, and what is it going to stand for? What is the purpose going to be, other than what you see, right? So I know that we embellish ourselves as African American women. We embellish ourselves a lot with different things, and nothing's wrong with that. We have hair, nails, the eyelashes is popping now, but we also like to embellish our beauty with our jewelry. And a lot of times, a lot of women can't do that because it is too expensive, and we fall back on wearing something that is not good quality, can break you out and things of that nature.
All right. So tell me, since you've started Embellish Queens, how has it impacted your marriage? I know earlier we were talking about your marriage going down and things of that nature, and you kind of set the business to the side, right? So how, since you've, reinvented the business and you went off, how has it now impacted your marriage and your family and your lifestyle?
Right. So it actually is starting to do a little bit of a turn. In the beginning, I really did not have a support system within my husband, so to speak. My children, so. I feel like they may have looked at it as like, this is something else mom is doing.
A hobby.
But now that I'm really working the business and is out in the community, out actually doing stuff other than, getting people to purchase on lives and different things of different ways that I, sell the jewelry, so to speak. But recently, my husband actually has started to become a lot more supportive, which is very strange a little bit. Not trying to shout victory just yet, but he's been a lot more supportive. I recently started a pop-up store, or instead of a pop-up store every Sunday. And so far, he's come every Sunday. It's been 3 Sundays. No bickering, no fussing.
It's okay for that.
The magnitude of it is extreme in regards to the loading everything up into my car, to unloading it out of the car, setting it up, engaging with the customers, because by that time I'm kind of like, whew, but to just be engaging with them, sharing the opportunity about, them also, starting their own business, because that's a part of it as well. So to have him come on board and just, really be supportive in that aspect has been really great. He's been going a little bit beyond that in regards to like helping me with numbers and just being really more involved. Before I had to like pull him like, hey, and let go, because I don't feel like, the negativity and things like that. But that's been great. The part that really is touching my heart in regards to the impact that me starting the business has had is my daughters. So I have 2 daughters and I have a son. My son is he's off to the races and just starting different ventures, and he's going to be doing new things. He's in college. My daughter is 15 and the other one is 7. So to see mom out and working her business and meeting new people and just how they watch me just maneuver and move around has encouraged them to want to do the same thing. It may not be in the line of jewelry, but just to be an entrepreneur,
entrepreneurship and leadership. Outstanding. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you. I'm excited for you. All right. And so I know you guys heard me say I have to save this young lady for last, because one of the things that, I heard when I spoke to the producers and we knew you were coming on board was that one of your companies and organizations is surrounded in mental health.
Yes.
And as we do have a panel of African American women, it is something that is so taboo to discuss.
Yes.
So that's why I really, and not just that, because I really, really like you anyway,
thank
but
you.
I really wanted to hear more. So Dr. Williams, one, just again, go in, because you do have multiple organizations. That's, again, the 7-figure
Yes,
hustle. Okay?
7-figure hustle.
All right?
Yes.
So go in and just tell us more about On the Right Track with Dr. D, and then lead us into Cerebrum, because just the title alone is amazing.
So I'm Dr. Shonda Williams, born in Virginia, raised in Philadelphia, Nicetown section of Philadelphia. And On the Right Track with Dr. D really manifested in 2015 when I graduated with my doctoral degree in theology. And my focus was, as a pastor of the church at the time, my focus was on mental health and that of my community, primarily coming from the church. But we know the stigma that's associated with mental health. And then looking at the strong pillars of our community, which is the educational institution and that of the church, I wanted to come from the perspective of, can the church address the stigma of mental illness? Is it the responsibility of the church to really understand that it's not just spiritual, but it's also something that's a chemical imbalance in the brains of people? And so my goal was to merge the fact that, yes, Premier Legs is here now, and I ran track for 10 plus years, NCAA national champion. And so I merged the worlds of On the Right Track with Dr. D. And so just taking that and realizing
I bet I can run you to that.
Yeah.
No,
realizing people always try to challenge me. I say once a champ, always a champ. 13-time national champion. But I want to not only know that I'm a champion, but I want to champion my community to be champions.
Right.
And so it was imperative to me to say to myself, what can I do to address the stigma of mental illness, not only just in my community, but also in the church. And so taking that and realizing that when you run track, people always say, run your own race, stay in your own lane. But if you're a real avid runner, you know sometimes staying in your lane will get you disqualified. Right? And so sometimes it depends on what race you run.
Right.
That's the difference. Because if I'm running a 400, I start in my lane, but I got to cross over to be the first one to get to the inner side so I can cross the lane first. If I'm running the 800, again, I still have to cross those lanes. And so every now and then, we don't have to always stay in our lane, but we have to know what race we're running. And so as I listen to you ladies, we're all running different races, and we're meeting people where they are with emotional needs and helping them. And so for me, On the Right Track with Dr. D, I have this reduction campaign nonprofit organization called Cerebrum, One Mind at a Time, which is my goal to reshape the thinking in the minds of pastors, people in the church, laity, community people. If we can get them one mind at a time to really understand the empowerment of reducing the stigma of mental illness, then our communities of color can be stronger to accept and be more authentic, be ourselves, to know where we can go get that support for our loved ones, and to embellish ourselves with the jewelry that we need. Come on, bring it together. And then not only that, walk into the great you.
Exactly.
If it's right now, it's everyone needs to have at least a 7-figure hustle, right? In the next 10, 20 years, we're going to need to have a 9-figure hustle, right?
If not
so
less than that.
But what that tells me is that there is enough money to go around if you can have all these different hustles to get at this money. So how do we bridge the gap and we go back into the community? We don't lose who we have now become, but we help others get to where we are without looking down on them and feeling like you are too good all of a sudden.
Yeah. I say, honestly, I go back to transparency, because that is the way that you relate to others. You have got to be your authentic self. If people feel like, oh, I'm so fancy, oh, I'm so this, like it's, speaking of the gap, when you're talking about somebody, whether they're 2 steps behind you or 20 steps behind you, we all know the analogy, don't compare somebody's chapter 20 to your chapter 2, you know? But if you're transparent about your journey, then those people are, you know, that next woman is more receptive to that information. I may not be in a place where I can receive your, not necessarily success, but I can't identify. You're too far gone. You know, I feel like it's not even just about being from the hood and people moving out the hood and then forgetting where they came from. It's just like you want to be able to articulate and relate that struggle. It's all a journey. I didn't get from here to here overnight. So you want to be open and honest. A lot of times we don't talk about our bad days, and we don't talk about, as entrepreneurs, we all know, we had that 1 month of all this income and then 3 months where we don't make no money. And, you know, so, but a lot of times that's not what's shined on
discussed or
social
displayed.
media or, you know,
Right.
when you're, even with speaking, and we all, most of us have done speaking engagements and things like that. And even with that, to me personally as a speaker, you know, was something that I had to kind of dial back on and understand. Like, everybody doesn't really want to hear the shining rainbow story, the rainbow part about the story. I don't want to hear about the lollipops and the gumdrops and the Benz you drive and the Gucci shoes. I want to kind of hear like, well, how can you relate? Because I have none of that. So it gets kind of hard when you don't really explain, like, you know, that one day when I still, even as a business owner, and I didn't know how my kids were going to eat, and my phone got cut off, and I'm waiting for an important call to have this person come on my show. You know, you have to be transparent about that struggle, because that's how people relate and see this can be done.
And Paul, we're going right back there, but you touched on something that, and then what I'm going to address, I want you can follow up on this part. You said something about, I'm not concerned about all the, you know, most people don't want to hear all about the Gucci and all that, but the reality is that's what attracts people, right? So we know that where we are with this question, but I want to add something on, and I know you're going to demolish it, right? So how do we engage our sisters and in our community to level up, to get to where we are without having to have all that. Because a lot of times in entrepreneurship, if you don't feel like you've made it until you have a certain car. So you know, here I am on TV, but I'm not driving a Bentley.
Right.
You understand? I'm on TV, but I'm not, you know, traveling to Bali every other week.
Exactly.
You know, so how do we get them to understand that this is the rough part? Success, because I'm on a television show or because you see me moving and shaking, does not mean that the millions come. This is the process. This is the leveling up. And how do we engage them with that without having all the glitz and glamour? I get what you're saying, but Dr. D, the transparency piece is, you know, I stand on that. But if we're going to, especially the millennial, because we have to build up us and the next generation, right? To bring them in, how do we engage them without having all of that?
Well, I think one of the other side of the coin of this conversation is something about doing versus being.
Come on.
Okay, so everybody wants to be, but nobody wants to do.
Exactly.
And so do is doing the work. Do is saying I have to start from the bottom to get to the top.
Right.
And I'm in that process of doing is when I become authentic. Doing is when I do be more of a server than a leader. Because anybody that serves is automatically a leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's about perspective. And so we got to bridge that gap to help people understand, instead of I want to be her, or I want to be him, or I want to be in this place where you should have been did this. No, what are you doing to
But how
get
do
to
we
that
bridge
place?
that gap?
We do it by empirical evidence. Empirical evidence for me is tangibleness. See where I am now.
where I am now.
Let me show you tangibly. Let me bring you my sister. Like these two sisters here.
Right.
They shared an idea. She said she thought about it. They began to do instead of just be. They saw their lives being somewhat falling apart. As I thought I heard you say, there was some struggles there, but then they start doing.
Right.
And bringing people along so they can go along that journey. Mom is doing
Doing it.
Right.
She's in
Not
the
just being,
trenches.
doing.
She's showing. Husband sees. She's doing. So let me
Right.
carry a bag so we can bring
Come
people
on.
in to show this is what I'm doing,
Right.
rather just being and you seeing. I ain't
But
trying
I'm
to rhyme.
more
But
people.
the truth of the matter is, you see that? I got bars. Stop and figure hustle. It's doing versus being.
And if more people, if more of us would do and show what we do, and not just want to be in the spotlight once we are.
And
Or
we
one-
share it.
Yes, and
Sharing it.
And I think
Sharing
sometimes
it, yes.
we fail to listen. You know, we have some that reach out, but we don't know how to listen. I think that kind of falls to the wayside as the generations have come along. You know, we fail to listen and say, you know what, I hear you. Let's sit down. Let's make some goals. Let's make some objections and get you on that path to be whatever goal you have.
And let's share our resources.
This is a
Yes.
This is a visual
Of how we
generation.
Yes. Yeah.
If they don't see it, they don't believe it.
Right.
No.
Right.
I also, I'm sorry. I also believe too, the key thing now, so much into sharing it, is communication.
Yes.
Because a lot of us walk past each other, and that woman that might have saw you in the grocery store all the time is admiring you and saying, "Wow, look at what is she doing? She's doing something about her." You know,
Because
but
we've
if
lost the
we
art of
don't-
communication.
If we don't just open our mouths and say hello, that might have been an opening for her to say, "What do you do?"
Right.
But I
There
was
it
looking to
is.
start something too.
There
and,
it
then,
is.
and then we just feed off of that. We share the opportunity
Yeah.
of any business, or you know, everybody don't want to own a business. Let's do that.
And if
But-
everyone owns a business, then we
gonna
don't
work?
have no customers.
no, okay.
Or no workers.
Okay, I don't have no workers. I'm doing
If everybody the
okay,
boss,
work.
who's gonna work for me?
Listen, but no.
But
yes.
they do want to be better, or you know, be set up a little bit, you know, differently than what they are. They may just need some help with organization. You know, let me help you organize your money. Because as business owners, we gotta know that, you know.
Right.
So that is something that we can also assist with, managing our time. There's other things other than let me help you start a business. You know,
Exactly.
everybody don't want to
That
start a
is not-
business.
and
Everybody
that-
wanna
and-
force
and
feed.
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people, soon as they feel they have a gift, oh, I got to take this to the market. But see, if we would understand where the gift came from, so if God gave us the gift, God will also give us the direction. And if He has not given you that direction, here's where a lot of us women, and because it's when we're going to stay here, right, in that moment, a lot of women, what we do is we jump ship. Oh, I have a gift. she's doing and the same thing that I'm good at. So now I'm going to start a business like what she's doing, and you fail miserably because that wasn't what God had intended for you. So that's very. You guys are sharing some good nuggets here. This is bridging the gap, right here. This is bridging the gap. You wanted to say something, Nicole? I'm sorry.
I just feel like with social media, the kids today, they want that fast. They want it fast. They don't want to have to work hard to get it. They just want to be like, okay, let's go. And it's not like that.
Right.
It's an everyday process. You got to work hard for it to make it.
Yeah.
Like our business wouldn't be where it's at today
Yeah.
if we thought it was going to happen overnight.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And you get discouraged along the way. That's the transparency part. You do get discouraged because you do sometimes want not just the tangible of how, of what I'm doing, but sometimes you want to see the rewards. Like if I'm going to be honest, there's sometimes I'm like, I just want, like, let me just see a little bit. And then when it doesn't happen, sometimes that frustration. But what happens to do is as you continue to do, you start to learn more and more.
That's the
and your
beauty.
patience gets so much better. Your faith gets so much stronger. And those are the things, those things are the intangibles that you must have in order to receive the tangible.
That's the beauty of success. The beauty of success is the process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all
If
in,
you can't
it's all in the process.
It's the process. That's the pruning. And I told a young lady the other day, I said, you're in the season of pruning and prodding. And if you could look at that pruning and prodding is intrusive, but it's beneficial for cultivating and you becoming who you are.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. So, ladies, lastly, what can we do now? So, do we say let's start a program? Do we reach out to some communities? Because what I find is, matter of fact, I want to change that. I want to reframe that. What are you going to do differently leaving here today to share your platform and the awareness of what it is that you do, but not only with people who are in your industry?
Right.
Because if you're sticking with just the people in your industry, how can you service these people over here? And how can you connect, right? But what are you going to do moving forward that's going to say, I'm going to reach out to more organizations or whatever it is, right? What are you going to do, Just Jocelyn?
Well, Just Jocelyn is going to, of course, continue to just be me, try to just continue to inspire and motivate. What I have learned, and I like that you spoke on social media, because I am a media personality, so to speak. So, social media works in a benefit for me. And it's not tangible funds generating. My show has been going for 2 years, and there's no actual finances that come from it. I don't get paid or anything like that. But I do get rewarded with those DMs and those inboxes and those emails. Like Jocelyn, I watched this one episode of Talk to Me Tuesday, and it had me turn my suicidal thoughts around. Those are the rewards. So the way I see it is just continue to do what it is. If you are authentic in your motives, like you spoke on, if you're authentic in your motives and your reasonings behind what you're doing, if it's money, then it's money. But be honest with that. I know that my calling and my purpose and the reason why I do what I do is not about money, because if it was, I would have been quit. So it's just going to continue to reach out and understand that if your motives are true, then it will always be rewarding, whether it's one person or 10 people.
Outstanding.
So for me, I believe when you know better, you do better. And so because if they don't know who I am, I'm going to do a one-page summary. I'm going to those places where they don't know who I am to spread the message and to go in there and do my motivational speaking and share my campaign.
Outstanding. So are we all pretty much in agreement with that? Like, we're going to do more. We're going to get out there and do more. Well, listen, it was my pleasure to have each and every one of you. Sincerely, I thank you. The great you, thank you. And of course, we thank you for being a part of today's topic on the 7-Figure Hustle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.